This is a 29-inch wheel. This is a 32-inch wheel. At the time of this video, only a few 32-inch prototypes have been spotted in the wild. How will they ride? How tall do you need to be? What are the design challenges? And what are 32-inch wheels good for? Most importantly, will they be fun?
This thing is nuts.
Let's build a bike and let's find out. Let's get into it. While Nick gets the parts together, let me give you some background. Here are the 32 and 29-inch wheels side by side. The 32-inch wheel is about 3 inches taller than the 29-inch wheel. 32-inch wheels are not new. It's actually a standard in the unicycling community. What is new is this tire, which I actually saw for the first time in the Taipei show earlier this year. Up until this point, no one has made a real Kevlar bead tubeless ready mountain bike tire. We got early samples from Maxxis to build this bike. Thanks, Maxxis. Let's start by bending the chainstay, seat stay, and seat tube. These are the seat stays. To get an accurate angle, you need to bend a tube twice. First is a guess, second factors in the spring back.
There you go, bent seat stays.
A quick die swap, and now the chainstays. Time for this chunky seat tube. It's actually going to require a massive bend to clear the giant tire. This is a good opportunity to talk about the design challenges of a 32er. Let's jump into BikeCAD and start with our medium-large production Hummingbird. And let's pop in 32-inch wheels. There's 3 things we need to do in the order of importance. The wheel must fit in the frame, the rider must fit the bike, and the bike needs to handle well. Every bike design starts with the fork. There's rumors of a 120mm 32-inch fork being produced, but for now, let's keep things simple with a rigid fork. We need to lower the bottom bracket to bring the rider back to earth. Now for the hardest part, the chainstays. For this design, we want the shortest chainstay possible without the tire hitting the frame. With our 3D printed yoke, we can push this dimension as short as possible. This turns out to be about 450mm, which I found in 3D CAD. This brings us back to our chunky seat tube. In order to clear the tire and maintain the proper seat tube angle, we need to increase the bend to 20 degrees. We've never bent a seat tube that far, and it's going to push the limits of our tube bender. We had to bend the seat tube to 29 degrees for it to spring back to 20.
We basically went to 30 degrees. I think that's the most we've bent to seat tube, huh?
That's definitely the most we've bent to seat tube.
The 2D drawings are a rough sketch. In 3D CAD, I go in and fine-tune the bike. This is all done before we start building. Here are the final drawings.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and set up the fixture for this frame.
Now let's miter the seat tube and get it in the fixture.
All right, now we're moving on to the front triangle. We're gonna use this tool here to mark out where the butted sections are on the tube so that we know exactly where to miter it.
The butted sections are the thick parts of the tube. You want to make sure your miters are well within the thick butts. Hopefully I'm allowed to say that on YouTube.
The next cut is 87 degrees, so we're going to rotate the fixture 3 degrees. And now we're going to do the same for the down tube.
You know what I find interesting? How long it takes to develop a physical product. 1 year development, 1 year testing, 1 year manufacturing. And so when a new bike is released, it's already a 2 to 3 year old design. A new wheel size also complicates things. because you can't design and test a 32-inch bike without 32-inch tires, but developing a 32-inch tire also takes a lot of time, tooling, and money. That's why I'm really excited to try out 32-inch wheels and stay ahead of the curve. I won't spoil the ending for you, but let's just say I was surprised.
All right, now we can test fit it.
Oh, that's good.
Now for the most challenging part of the build, the chainstay subassembly. Remember the chainstays we bent earlier? Now we want to miter and weld on the dropouts into what we call chainstay lollipops. Let's get the chainstays and the dropout into the chainstay fixture. We're using these dropouts from Aura Engineering, the same dropouts on our made in Taiwan bikes. We have these samples laying around, but also we might make this into a 32-inch production bike.
Lollipops.
Next up, our 3D printed chainstay yoke.
All right, take two.
Next up, our 3D printed chainstay yoke. Nick also welded the bottom bracket to the seat tube. Look at that, almost a complete 32-inch bike. Just drill some water bottle holes, mill a slot for the dropper port, and waste an hour trying to cut seat stays because we were too lazy to set up our seat stay fixtures.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Let's weld up this big boy and ride it. This is a good time to have a fireside chat. I think it's super cool you can start with a bunch of tubes in the morning and leave with a rideable 32-inch prototype at the end of the day. That's why I say creativity is the real reason why steel is real, and it's also what I enjoy the most about frame building. Speaking of which, let's talk a little business. Nick and I, and by that I mean mostly Nick, has built more than 250 custom Hummingbird frames in the last 3 years. The workshop allows us to build really cool stuff like this 32-inch bike, but the problem is custom frame building doesn't have the ability to scale. You simply can't grow the business.
We're gonna get it tacked, and we'll pull it out and weld it.
That's why we're working hard on our production bikes made in Taiwan. This 32er could be one of them. We're working on a gravel bike, another hardtail, and some fancy artifact road bikes. Anyways, we're doing lots of stuff, trying to find the right balance of custom bikes, production bikes, YouTube videos, and riding our bikes. It's tough, but rewarding, and I appreciate everyone's support. Just watching this video helps.
6 hours later, a complete bike. Any predictions on the 32-inch wheel size?
I'm excited to ride it. I think it's gonna be really good on the fire roads. I'm curious how it'll handle our single track.
So what's next for this guy?
We're gonna get it off to paint, then we'll get it built up, and get some riding in.
So 2 weeks, see you guys then.
First ride.
Try body confidence. Feels pretty normal, although like when you start getting in the turn, all of a sudden it like, ugh.
It looks so big. See if I can manual.
Oh. Is that a first manual on a 32?
It's so forgiving. It's large. It's large.
First check, will it fit on the rack? Oh no.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ah, we're good. Ah, rock solid.
All right, I wanted to bring this to you because you guys could be one of the first people to ride a 32 inch.
Try it?
Yeah,
You
give
do
it a
your
shot.
meeting. You do your meeting. Woo. See you later, David.
I'll send you the invoice.
He just looked like someone shrank him.
It's fun. It feels just like a big BMX bike. It
Yeah.
just feels, which is weird.
We built the show bike for Made, so we're gonna have to wait till after August to test ride it.
Very first impression, the grip on this is way more than I expected. So I was thinking the other day about what the theoretical benefits could be, right? And normally, let's say you have any tire, any wheel size. If you wanted more grip in the tire, you have to just add more knobs. And when you add more knobs, it gets slower. So you can't get more grip without going slower, unless you increase the wheel size. If you increase the wheel size, then potentially you could get more grip without sacrificing speed. In fact, this one, I feel like it has both grip and speed. And you can't get that with just putting on a thicker tire with more knobs. You get slower. And so I think that's really the argument about going to a bigger wheel, is you get grip without sacrificing speed. All right, this is one of my favorite loops to do in the city. It's just a really short, it's easy, but I like to practice cornering on this track. So I've done a lot of repeats, I know pretty well, so let's see how it goes. And let me try to give you the final opinions. Wow, so that was an off-camber grip. Man, this thing rolls fast. All right, here's a berm, stay high, wow. All right, this turn, I usually mess up. Oh, wow. All right. Here are my thoughts. So, the thing I noticed the most is the grip. This thing grips really well. It almost feels like you have a blade that's digging into the dirt, like cutting an edge.
I gotta confess, earlier today, I did 1,000 feet of dry, dusty descending at China Camp. In those conditions, I was even more impressed with a 32-inch grip. However, I goofed up the settings on my camera and all the footage was kind of ruined, so I had to refilm it all in Mount Sutro.
So the other part about this is that it rolls really fast. I mean, these are basically cross-country slicks, and they're gripping like a trail tire. The other thing is the rollover. Like, you don't even feel the feedback of the small roots. And this is a rigid carbon fiber fork. It just eats up all the bumps in it. Oh, jump, nice. It rolls super fast. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, the question is it fun or not? And I would say, this is really fun. Oh no, wet patch. Maybe let's talk about some downsides. One, if you're not tall, this bike is gonna be pretty goofy for you. Like, my butt gets really close to the tire, and I'm sure if I did some more aggressive rolls or drops, or had to maneuver behind the bike, my butt would touch the tire. And I guess I forgot to mention, I'm 6 feet tall, 205 pounds on a good day. Oh, didn't see this one. All right. Yeah, I'm 6 feet tall, 205 pounds. So like, I think 32-inch wheels are pretty good for me. I would say if you're shorter than 5'10", you're probably gonna have issues with the fit or your butt touching the tire. The next downside I can think of is the tire and the casing. So I mean, at the end of the day, even with all this grip, this is still a cross-country tire with a cross-country casing. And if I did anything rocky, I would be afraid of puncturing the tire. I mean, let's say you roll really fast and you carry a lot of speed, but if your tires can't hold air, then, And then I can imagine, let's say, there's a rumored suspension fork coming out for this. Put some suspension, well, then you go even faster. And then you're pushing the tire casing even harder. And so then you say, oh, well, like, let me just have a trail casing or an enduro casing. But then your tire's gonna weigh like 1,500 grams, And then at that point, like, a 29-inch wheel would be better, because then you balance the weight and the acceleration with a more compact tire. This bike as is, with the rigid fork and the nice carbon wheels and the super fast rolling tires, makes a lot of sense. It's like an ultra-light, fast cross-country bike. I'm sure it's gonna blast through all the fire roads, or like the little tiny rocky fire roads or single track really nicely. All right. Oh, overshot that. And I'd say, with the wheelbase or the handling, you could get used to anything. It's just feel like I'm a little bit delayed in my setups, but like this tight turn, you can clear it no problem. I mean, if this had a slacker head tube angle on the suspension fork, not really sure if that's the same, but as is, it's totally fine. Oh yeah. Yeah, if I really commit and just like dig my heel into those corners, this thing grips. All right. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the ramble. Thanks for watching the video. We're gonna be at Made. We're gonna bring this bike, so if you're around, stop by, say hi. If not, leave a comment. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. You guys think it's weird that I'm talking to a camera? When I see like hikers and stuff, I get really insecure because I don't want to seem like a crazy person or a crazy YouTuber.